Lagos, welcome. Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts. First hard fact of the day: I told you during the news that Jerry Rawlings has died from COVID-19. He was, of course, both military and civilian head of state of Ghana. COVID no dey look face, and it's still outside. It's still wreaking havoc. It's still wreaking havoc, even here in Nigeria. So I beg, as you're moving around, please stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands. We still have COVID in Nigeria. I welcome all 674,000 of you to the best current affairs show on the air, starting with the big three. Let's talk about Itire-Ikate LCDA's relief fund for vandalized businesses. Then let's talk about the NBA criticizing the CBN's freezing of EndSARS accounts. And then let's talk about Governor Okowa accusing the federal government of double standards for oil and gold mining. Before we go on, I would like to wish a happy birthday to Prince Chimeremeze Promise and Princess Chigozirim Promise, who are celebrating their birthday today. Their dad and their mom wants them to know that they're very loved. I'm talking about Reverend and Mrs. Promise Obasi of the Assemblies of God Church, Mangoro International. So happy birthday to Chimeremeze and Chigozirim Promise. I hope that 2021 is a great year for you, if 2020 hasn't been fantastic. But yes, today is Thursday, so that means that we're bringing you Eyewitness, as always. But before Eyewitness at 4:30, we're going to bring you League of Extraordinary Nigerians, where we take a look at some extraordinary Nigerians doing extraordinary things. On the big hard fact today, we're going to talk about the skyrocketing price of food. How much does it cost to make jollof rice now? How much did it cost a year ago to make jollof rice? What's going on? Why is it going on? I'll have a farmer, on the show with me. She owns a farm in Kaduna, and she'll be joining us today. Of course, there's news updates coming your way at the top of every hour. You need to listen to every minute of today's show so that you can hear when we are about to play just a minute, and you can play and you can win. But for right now, let's bring you today's big three.
This is the Big Three.
The Big Three.
On Hard Facts.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Will the Itire-Ikate relief money get to the victims? Will the Itire-Ikate relief money get to the victims? Is the NBA right about the CBN? Is Okowa right about PAGMI? Those are your big three, Lagos. Let's talk. Itire-Ikate LCDA has shared 5 million naira to victims of vandalism. That's our first story. During the riots last month, a lot of businesses were vandalized. They were burned. They were destroyed. And a lot of that happened in the Itire-Ikate LCDA. And now the LCDA chairman has announced that the council has disbursed 5 million naira to affected businesses. Some businesses got as much as 250,000 naira. Others got as low as 50,000 naira. It was done based on assessment. So the LCDA will assess the damage, decide how much was a fair compensation for that damage. Now, it ties into what we talked about on Monday with Lagos Rebuild. Remember, we talked about how the state government was setting up a trust fund to compensate victims of these riots. I spoke with the Information Commissioner here in Lagos. By the way, I want to address something. Very quickly. Whenever the government talks about this violence, they say it is connected to EndSARS. But I want to read something to you, something that the LCDA chairman said about addressing the root causes. All right, let me read the press statement. He said, quote, to address the fundamental issues underlining the youth's agitation, Akpatira also unveiled a program to engage representatives of civil society organizations, socio-political and youth organizations, in partnership with artists and celebrities within the community. He said the program would be tagged Itire-Ikate Talent Hunt 2020, from which 100 youths in skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled categories will be engaged by the LCDA, end quote. So notice the LCDA's chairman's answer to the root causes. an employment program. And we've seen the same response from the federal government. The president has also talked about employment and loan schemes. So my question is, if the government at all levels truly believes the EndSARS demonstrators were behind the violence, why are they suggesting economic responses rather than police reform responses? Because if the government thinks people burnt down businesses because they are unemployed, isn't government in fact agreeing that the people who burnt down those businesses are not the peaceful protesters who simply came out to protest police brutality? Because it sounds to me like the government is aware that there are two groups of people. I don't know. What do you think? 0700-993-993-993. Those of you who are in Itire-Ikate, please give us a call as well. Do you think a 5 million naira fund will be enough to handle all the damage in that area? And do you think it's a good idea for the LCDA to do their own relief program, or should they have waited for the state government program and coordinate with the state government to avoid double work? Do you think this relief program will be run effectively? 0700-993-993-993. Send your thoughts to us via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. 080-959-75805. What do you think about this 5 million naira that Itire-Ikate LCDA has shared to victims of vandalism? That's our first story. 99.3. Hello. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is D.A. Akimbo.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you very much. You see, we have a serious problem. All these piecemeal solutions will never solve the problem. These EndSARS protesters have really come up with opportunity for the leaders of this nation to find a permanent solution to the problems that have been nagging this country for a very long time. But it's unfortunate our government is still not serious. Let's look at it. Why must a politician or a public office holder earn more than a professor in the university? Way back when Obama was the president of America, it was widely reported that his salary was $300,000 per annum, with all allowances inclusive. And a Nigerian legislator earns more than that. In a country whose economy can be referred to as a tattered economy compared to that of America, if we will not face all the problems that we have in this nation and try to solve them once and for all, the problem is just like sitting on a keg of gunpowder. It's a matter of time. The Senate President has said that this nation will not be able to survive second wave of EndSARS protest, and that is 100% correct. So the leaders have the opportunity to call the youth and all the stakeholders of this country. There is a need for absolute reform, be it political reform, be it economic reforms, whatever reforms we want to talk about. The time to solve these problems is now.
All right. Thanks for calling and, of course, taking the conversation in a whole other different direction. That's not what we're talking about on today's Big Three, but thank you for being my first caller. Hello. Sorry about that. 99.3. 99.3.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. What's your name?
Sorry, Sandra, my name is Chris. I'm calling from Amuwodo.
Sorry, say that again.
Chris from Amuwodo.
Chris, welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry again. Your second caller will want to deviate a bit, but I'm staying to what you talk. Please, can we stop calling the protests peaceful protests?
Okay.
I find it very difficult as a lawyer to tell me that every time the narrative is peaceful protesters. peaceful protesters. The protest in Lekki was largely peaceful. The protest in Amu-Odofi, was it peaceful? The protest in Okokomaiko, was it peaceful? The protest in Newi, was it peaceful?
Wasn't it peaceful?
What you should know, Sandra, what you should know
wasn't it peaceful?
No, there were pockets of violence.
Pockets of violence?
Yes.
The people who were meting out violence, did they say that they were EndSARS protesters?
The people that are peaceful protesters.
You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. The people who were meting out violence, did they say the people who said that the people who were meting out violence, did they say we are EndSARS protesters?
The people that are peaceful protesters, do they have their names written on their forehead?
No, but they said they were protesters and they were carrying billboards. Now, the people who were carrying out violence, did they not also attack protesters?
The people that were carrying out violence,
did they not attack protesters?
Of course, they should.
They should attack protesters?
They did.
Okay, now, so if you are an EndSARS protester, will you attack other EndSARS protesters?
If there's a scuffle, if there's a share agreement, if there's any problem that arises from it, you guys can attack yourself. Secret cult members attack each other.
Oh, now EndSARS protesters are secret cult members.
No, I'm giving an instance.
Thanks for calling me, lawyer. 99.3. Hello.
Hello, Sandra.
How are you?
Fine. And you too?
Very well. What's your name?
I am Tony.
Tony, good to have you on the show. What do you think about what Itire-Ikate LCDA is doing for people?
The man did well. Because out of the 3 tiers of government, if he starts at this time, then the state government and the federal government will follow suit. But the problem is that the money he said he disposed of, those who are in control of that money, will they share it accordingly? That is the major problem. So I believe what this man did is nice. Instead of him to wait for either state or federal government, by that time, if that money is put together, I think there may be a hole where they will siphon the money. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. We have a message from somebody who wants to be anonymous, and he says, "I reside in Itire-Ikate, but I want the LG chairman to show us the criteria that he used in distribution of the said relief fund. What they've been doing among themselves is sharing a mega sum among party members. Let them give us the criteria. Simple." Well, that's an allegation, very strong allegation you've made there. Hopefully you can send me some proof to substantiate what you're saying, because you're making very, very, very strong allegations there. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3. We've got messages on WhatsApp, more messages on WhatsApp, that is. Let's take a look at some of them. Sandra, the second caller, he's speaking in the nonsense. He must be one of those. Okay, let's be respectful. More messages here. Sandra, tell that angry bird lawyer. Come on now. Come on, you people. Come on. Okay, let me see if I can take the message that you're sending. Concerning the local government sharing 5 million naira to 8 people, my question is, what will then happen when the government decides to give local government money to share to people for the damages of the protests? Will these people be given the same money, or because they've been given money before, it will cover for what the government has given? Chibuza from Satellite is asking. Chibuza, thanks for calling. Good afternoon, Madam Sandra. I trust you're doing good today. Please do not mind your second caller. He couldn't defend himself as a lawyer. Can we focus on the subject? Let's focus on the subject. Someone just reported a robbery. I can't confirm that, of course, but this person is reporting that a robbery just happened at Blanco Supermarket, Ado Road, Aja. Wale is reporting that. Okay. A lot of people are asking me if my second caller is really a lawyer. I don't know. There's no way I can know. But please focus on the subject matter at hand. Charles in Victoria Island, how are you?
Come now.
Hello,
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah. Good afternoon, my sister.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah. Please, I'm surprised that a lawyer will call to say he's a lawyer, and you ask a question, he couldn't say anything. EndSARS protesters came in as a result of the way the government of this federation has neglected the entire citizenry. Both the old, the young, the women, the men, they supported this mass movement. But you still see some of our Nigerians who will come outside to speak against the genuine movement of the people. My sister, I don't understand whether some of these people are really Nigerians who are looking for the better future of our children, or they are being paid.
Yes.
Because I remember I was also on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the way the talks were brought to attack us. I witnessed the damage my car. And these are the set of people who are now coming outside to defend the fact that government is now going against we, the citizenry. Please be careful with this set of people like the lawyer who call you and says a lawyer could not defend anything. Is that a lawyer or a quack lawyer?
No, let's focus on the topic on the big three. We're talking about Itire-Ikate providing 5 million for people whose businesses were vandalized. What do you think about that? And what do you think about the caller who about the message I got on WhatsApp, where the person was asking about criterias? What criteria did they use to choose who will get the money and who will not get the money?
Is not going to go around, my sister. They've already selected the people that will get this. Even those who their shop never affected will collect it. Believe you me, it will never be as open as they are. They know those they want to give this money. Even those who never had a shop will collect it.
Are we not being too cynical? Are we not being too cynical?
After how many years? You're a young girl that born into this nation. You've come to continue from where your parents have been praying that God should save us from. It's a continuous something. It's a continuous something.
Charles, thanks for calling. Seriously, what do you think about that point that Anonymous made on WhatsApp about what the criteria was for selecting the people who have benefited from this 5 million naira in Itire-Ikate? Do you think the criteria should have been made public? You know, shouldn't they have made the criteria for accessing that money public? We'll take one more call. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for calling.
Hello, Sandra.
How are you, sir? What's your name?
Oh, my name is Sam.
Sam, welcome. Go ahead.
Okay. It's a good one to give to those who lost things during the protest. But I don't think that is the best way to solve this problem.
Okay.
They should address the demands of the protesters. But I think that what they are doing is an opportunity for the chairman and the governors and so on to even siphon the money again. What is 5,000? Go and look at the Itire local government. How much was lost? How much is 5 million? Even one shop alone. The cost of loss in the shop is under 5 million. So it means that you are just throwing what into the sea. So you understand what I mean? It's too small compared to the loss.
But as no be government spoil the place, number one.
I know.
And number
I understand.
two.
That is why it is not. It's like it's the same thing as sharing money. This money, market money, or all this money you are sharing for the people. That is not the best way to solve problem.
But at all, nine bad pass now. No,
that is not it. What should be the problem is solve the problem. If you don't solve that problem now, if you solve it halfway, if it comes again, you will start solving again. So it's best thing we do it right. Do it right. Do what the people ask us to do. Cut your salaries. Create jobs. It's not by sharing money to the people.
But see that they've also created a talent show, kind of, in Itire as well, in the LCDA. They've created something that a talent hunt 2020, where they are hoping to employ 100 youths.
Very good, very good. They should see that one to the conclusion. That one is better than sharing of money.
Okay.
But what I think myself is that these people who are sharing money, it will not be shared equitably in the first place. It will be an opportunity for opportunists to even take money from the treasury.
All right. Thank you for calling. Now, of course, we have to remember that the EndSARS protests were a protest against police brutality. So I'm always hesitant to pack on all these other things that Nigerians are packing on to it to provide jobs, cut your salaries, etc., etc. But hey, let's take a quick break, come back, and continue this conversation.
To leave home without us again. Listen on the air and online. Just search Nigeria Info FM on the Apple app or Google Play Store and never miss a thing. Your number one station for talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info. On Hard Facts.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Lagos, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. I've told you that the Itire-Ikate LCDA shared 5 million naira to vandalized businesses. And to that, someone says to me, Sandra, my house is very close to Akpatira's house. I've not seen anything of the such. I'm sorry. I'm just hearing it now from you. Even the COVID palliatives were not shared properly. The vandalism that happened in Itire was some by rivalry cult groups and not the EndSARS protesters. The cult groups came from Itire and Otuoba axis. Well, thank you for that information. I appreciate it. But hey, let's quickly move on to our second story on the show today. It's a doozy. Yesterday, we talked about the CBN saying that it froze EndSARS protesters' accounts because of links to terrorism. And the reactions to that are flooding in. And they're not kind to the central bank. That's our second story. The NBA is one of the people who've reacted, the Nigerian Bar Association, and they said that freezing accounts of the protesters proves that government is being insincere. Now, I'm going to read you their press statement verbatim, so you will not say that it is Sandra that said it. The NBA said, and I quote, "The timing looks very suspicious. The protests are lawful and the demands of the protesters and the concerns they expressed are genuine. What has happened shows that the protesters were right to insist that they were not going to leave the streets because over time the government would promise something and do the opposite. This action of the CBN lends credence to the position taken by the youth. Even if government is right, who will believe it at this time? The government makes it look like it is trying to silence people from talking about the ills of the society. Why does the government appear to be doing that? It tells us that the government may not be doing anything to ensure that the complaints are being addressed. It also tells us that their original claims that they were standing with the youth were pretenses. You cannot be standing with them and freeze their accounts. It does not work that way. Let us assume that the allegations are true. What happened to discreet investigation? Why should they block the accounts of persons because you are investigating them? Why don't they be on the trail of the money going into the accounts, assuming the allegations are true? The timing is very suspicious. It lends credence to the belief of the average Nigerian that the government is not being sincere. End of quote. This statement was released by the publicity secretary of the NBA, the Nigerian Bar Association, Dr. Raps Nduka. So multiple assertions are being made in this statement. NBA is saying that the way the government has gone about freezing these accounts makes it look like they're simply trying to silence the protesters. NBA is also saying that it calls into question the sincerity of the government when it talked about dialogue with the protesters and willingness to go about reforming the police. And the NBA isn't the only one who has spoken. Chidi Odinkalu, a former chairman of the National Human Rights Commission, has also spoken, and he said the CBN is wrong to treat peaceful protesters like terrorists. Various SANs have also condemned the move and faulted the legality. Because remember, the accounts were frozen before the CBN applied for a court order. In fact, the application for a court order only happened after Gatefield sued the CBN and their bank for freezing their account without an order. So what do you think about what the NBA said? Do you agree with the NBA or do you disagree with the NBA? I hope the lawyer can call back, the one who called earlier on, because his association is speaking here. So I'm curious to hear what he says. Do you think the freezing of the accounts of these protesters and the way it was done calls into question the government's sincerity about addressing the issues raised by EndSARS? Do you think it justifies the reluctance of the protesters to choose leaders or choose representatives who will dialogue with the government? Don't forget, you can still talk to me about the money that was shared in Itire-Ikate LCDA to people who had their businesses vandalized. What do you think about that thing that happened there? Do you think the criteria should have been made public? Do you think that's the way to go? Let's talk to Bayo in Egbeda. Hello, Bayo.
Hello, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon, welcome.
Yeah, I've been listening to your, conversation all along.
Great.
Quite interesting. Yeah, well done. Anyway, my own take is just that this kind of approach, this particular government, is using or probably applying toward this EndSARS issue. They are not new. They can only be new to people of maybe 30s or 20s or thereabouts. We look at it critically in 1983 and 84. It is the same way, this same man, let me use that word, it's same kind of intimidation and silence mechanism that is applied in those days that is using right now, So they are just using all those ones to silence, people. And sincerely, I bet it with you, this thing can only last a while. It can't last forever. And the comeback, I pity a lot of people now because many of them perhaps might not have been there again. But of course, I see pity because they are already a compounded gunpowder, being placed at their bombs. So, because at the matter of when you look at it, there is no correlation in what is on ground. You recall that when we were on the streets and we insisted that, okay, fine, until our demands were met, we will not leave. A lot of people are saying that we didn't give this administration time. Now we are giving them time. Okay, what have they done? Instead of that, look at a lot of misplaced priority approaches that they have shown in recent times. Dubai government helped our same government to discover the sponsor of Boko Haram, who have been terrorizing the peace of the nation, who have made a lot of youth, young Hausas, to vacate their place and come and bombard Lagos here, turn them to Okada man. A lot of farmlands over there that are being vacant now. These are Arebu and, how do I call it now, peasant farmers. None of them can stay in that place now because of ravaging violence of this Boko Haram, thereby making food supply to be short. We are battling with food, what's it called, short now, price hike and all because we have food insufficiency due to these same Boko Haram people. And they are able to discover them that, okay, fine, these are the people. For a sensitive government, what are they supposed to have done? Instead of that, they are descending and trying to muscle, we the youth that we are telling that this is what we want. Do you know what? We know all these things before. We have seen it that these kind of things will happen before. Okay, because why? Our leaders have never expected this kind of coordinated movement before. We have never done it before. So they believe they have taken us for granted. They have taken the Nigerian, for granted for quite a long time. And they are happy with the status quo. They are happy by weaponizing poverty, to minify the sensibilities of average Nigeria. So anytime they come from Abuja, all of them will be raising our hands as they are coming and be saying, okay, Oga, please give me this and this and that. They don't want dependency for average Nigeria. So it cannot work. I know quite well. I was in my team when this man was head of state in 1983, 1984. It was a lot of people were in jail. A lot of silence. So now it's obvious that for those that think maybe Buhari is not the one in Abuja and all that, now they could know it's the same man and he's applying the same mechanism, but it cannot work.
Bayo, thank you for calling me. Dominic, I wonder if you're still on the line. Hello.
I'm on the line.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Good evening, Sandra.
Good evening, Dominic.
Yes, I'm lucky to have gotten you today.
I'm lucky to have you. Go ahead.
Yes, concerning the EndSARS issue.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about what the NBA said?
The fact still remains that what we are talking about freezing the account of the protesters and the issue of the EndSARS, because you see, when that thing happened, when we were even talking about what they were doing and how they were doing it, it was hydra-headed in the sense that the people that are talking, they started with something, but they are aiming at another. They were not even sincere within themselves, these EndSARS protesters.
Okay.
They were not sincere with themselves. Why I say they were not sincere with themselves is this. They started with SARS. And the government said, okay, we are listening to talk about, well, let's hear what SARS is talking about and how we are going to end SARS, the police brutality. Then from there again, they now started another thing.
What's the
government?
Okay, but end bad government. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
End bad government, because I passed through them on foot, and they were carrying a lot of placards. Now, it is sending a signal. Like yesterday, they were talking about that the government branded them some type of terrorists. It looks more like that.
I see.
Because they started from one angle. When the government want to listen to that angle, they now diverted to another. And it was, you see, the irony of it is that some of them never knew that you don't supposed to start something you cannot control. They started something they cannot control because they were recruiting some youth. I'm telling you sincerely, I passed through them and I saw the type of people, people that are converging there, they were making some contacts. I don't know what they are contacting for. Don't be surprised, some of them were just using that opportunity to recruit some jobless youth. Yes, the government has their own fault because the government did not give the youth jobs. And once they say that an idle mind is devil's workshop. That is exactly what has happened.
So let me ask you something. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Dominic, if somebody starts off asking, saying EndSARS, and then somebody else comes and joins and says end bad governance, asking for good governance is terrorism?
No, look at it this way. There are better ways of asking for good governance.
What's a better way of asking for good governance than a protest?
Youth, look at it this way. The youth should now come out this time and form a political party purely for the youth. Yes.
Okay.
Let them come out, organize themselves to form a political party that is purely for the youth.
Okay.
I myself, I am not a youth, but I can vote for them.
Okay.
But you know the irony of it. When they come, the internal wrangling that we even destroy them, we start with them. We start within them.
Did you see internal wrangling with these protests that happened? Did you see internal wrangling destroy them?
Yes.
You saw that?
What happened?
Oh, that's what happened?
That was what happened.
Tell me how. Tell me how.
Good. Let me tell you how it happened.
Tell me how.
Some people were at that Lagos Lekki toll gate. And the type of food, I passed through there on foot. I'm telling you sincerely. Now, the type of food they were eating, the type of drink they were drinking, they were more or less, they were not protesting, they were celebrating.
No, but that's to show your
Sandra,
Dominic, let me tell you something.
I'm telling you why I said it was not coordinated, why the thing became internal wrangling.
Hold on now. No, hold on. Let me address, you raise a point, I'll address it for you.
Okay.
Have you been paying attention to protests all over the world? All over the world. Because if you
Yes.
have, you will see that in America, in Hong Kong, in what's the other country in Africa here, they did the same thing. They were eating, they were dancing, they were playing music.
Yes,
So
that is
because of
exactly- I
eating and dancing and drinking and playing
No.
music, they were internally fragmented?
No. Let me not tell you the truth. You have fragmentation. Well, let me come on.
Okay.
Now, some other boys, okay, who felt when they come there, the way they themselves dressed, they were not welcomed. There was sort of physical disparity. Okay? So those other people were not feeling that, now we've been the king of this jungle, and these people are coming to take it over from us. They started their own different blocking roads in another way. And that was where the thing got out of hand.
This is actually the first time I'm hearing this, and I've been following.
Hold on.
I've been following these protests very closely, and I've never seen this or heard this except right now, Dominic. So I'm wondering what protest you're talking about.
The protest that even happened that way. Look at it this way. From that Aja, because I live in Nigeria.
Because even the government has not said this thing that you're saying, Dominic.
The government they are in Abuja.
No, even the Lagos state government has not said this thing you're saying, Oga.
We are not on the street. I was on the street because I'm a hustler. I'm looking for what I will eat.
Okay.
You get it? So this other group now form their own internal group within the group.
Do you realize that what happened more than once was a lack of security agents protecting these protesters? And so protesters...
Why would there be security agents when they say they don't want the police?
Fair.
So which other political agents would they protect them? They say they don't want police. Will you not send police to come and protect those who don't want them?
Abi, thank you for calling, Dominic. I appreciate it. Chief Larry in Lagos Island, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine, Sandra. But you really tried, though, and I don't think that discourse is worth the wastage. I've spent almost how many minutes on the line. Anyway, you tried. But I think for us to be honest with ourselves and with our conscience, as human beings, we must be very, very careful the kind of comments we are making. One, is not only NBA that said it. So many of us have been saying it that the government, and especially this government, has never shown in their actions and inactions that they really appreciate what the poor masses are passing through in this government. Because one, we have a young man in Abuja that came out to threaten 10 days into that protest that if that protest continues in Abuja, that just like the popular baboon and this will cry, that things will happen against the protesters. And we saw what happened. Houses were burned, things started happening. Cash shop was...
Larry? Oh no, I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. We've got a message from Paul in Ikota. Paul says, government asked us to leave the streets and give them time to meet our demands. We have left the streets and government is now freezing our accounts. Sandra, please let me ask you, have you heard of the government freezing an account of a single police officer since October 20th, 2020? How come they have enough time to victimize protesters, but not enough time to prosecute rogue policemen? And to that last caller who says he's Dominic, if you say that you don't want Sanwo-Olu as your governor, should Sanwo-Olu say he will stop doing his job? We just heard Joe Biden say, I will be president of those who did not vote for me. So it doesn't make any sense, Dominic, to say that why should the police protect protesters who say they don't want police? All right, Paul from Ikota, thank you for sending that message in. Let's move to our final story. The Delta State Governor says the rules for Niger Delta oil should apply to Zamfara gold. Dr. Itire-Ikate, that is. He said the federal government is applying a double standard. He was talking about PAGMI, the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Initiative. Remember, I talked to Tolu Ogunlesi from the presidency about it a couple of months ago. If you missed that interview, you should search for it. The podcast is available. Search for PAGMI Hard Facts with Sandra Ezekwesili, and then you can listen. But yeah, under the PAGMI scheme, the federal government is going to pay artisanal miners for the gold that they mine. The government is registering them and giving them equipment and training. Government is also setting up facilities to process the gold. Itire-Okowa has something to say about that scheme. He said, quote, "As at today, there are acts in the National Assembly that guide the issue of oil production and with the solid minerals. Those are not covered in these acts. And obviously, this is already a sore point in our nation's governance system. And we hope to express this very strongly during the meeting taking place in Port Harcourt on Friday. We cannot apply laws in our nation to the point that it becomes discriminatory, because if people are allowed to process their solid minerals, they should also be allowed to do the same for their oil. So we're going to be very hard and try to make our voices as strong as possible during the meeting," end quote. He's referring to the meeting between the South-South governors and a presidential delegation in Port Harcourt. So, I mean, we've seen a similar meeting in the Southwest and in the Southeast. So the same thing is going to happen in the South-South. But yeah, Okowa is saying that it would be unfair and illegal for the federal government to treat gold mining differently from oil mining. And you remember when I talked about this issue with Tolo Ogunlesi, he said that the difference is that you cannot have artisanal mining of gold, or of oil, the way you have for gold. And I pointed out to him then that this is not exactly accurate, because you have wildcat oil drilling in places like the United States. Even in the Niger Delta, those illegal oil bunkering installations are very small. So some observers say that if the people bunkering the oil right now were given the same deal as the artisanal gold miners under PAGMI, but told that they must use standard equipment and obey environmental protection laws, that they would be able to comply. So there's nothing physically stopping the federal government from enforcing the same standards for gold and oil. Now, if you are an expert in the oil sector, I'm going to need you to give me a call as well. Give me your expert technical opinion on this matter. Because at the end of the day, there's a legal question, which is what Okowa raises. Under the law, both oil and gold belong to the federal government. They belong to the federation. So if you have a scheme where the federal government is paying gold miners, the question has to be asked, why are those gold miners being paid for mining the property of the federation? Have they paid for a lease that gives them mining rights? And if so, can the same thing not be done for small-scale oil miners or wildcatters in oil-producing areas? 0700-993-993-993. Let's hear your thoughts, Lagos. 0700-993-993-993. There's WhatsApp, of course. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. 080-959-75805. Oh my God, a lot of messages. Sandra, good afternoon. In my area, during the COVID-19 lockdown, we did not see any palliative. Well, we're not talking about palliatives right now, but thank you so much for sending that message in. The guy that said Apatira should give prerequisites in sharing is right. I lived in Itire-Ikate LCDA in my first 32 years before I moved to another area to settle in marriage. Itire-Ikate LCDA is fond of sharing what belongs to all among party members. I was having a heated argument with a party member of the APC that why are they fond of sharing what comes from federal and state lawmakers among themselves? And he said, I'm supposed to be a party member to get. I was angry when a girlfriend of a prominent party who lives in Ogun State got grinding machine and a poor widow could not. This is a message from an anonymous. Well, there's a lot of hearsay in this message. But this person goes on to say, who does not know the game that government plays? They sent hoodlums into the midst of peaceful protesters just to target a violent protest. Sooner or later, monkey go eat banana bigger than a mouth. Okay, anonymous. Thanks for sending your message in. We've got Daniel in Lekki on the line. Daniel, how are you?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
About the last caller, I don't really know. I think he's one of the agents.
Which one?
Because the way he must speak, that tells me that he's one of the agents. Because for him to speak like that, instead of him to support what what people are protesting, he's now going against the protesters, which is very, very wrong.
But everybody mustn't support the same thing. People are allowed to, support or not support what they want to.
Okay, that's good.
But
about that 5 million naira, how are they going to share it? How
they've already shared it.
Oh, they have already shared it. Is there any, as in like, have anyone testified that, okay, you have received it on our own?
Well, we haven't gotten that testimony as yet, but we know that some people got 50, some businesses got 50,000, some businesses got 250,000. So they did an assessment of the damage and decided how much was a fair compensation, depending on the business.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Thank you so much. I really like you really tried. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniel, for calling. I appreciate it. Dominic Ada says that Dominic that called is not a true representative of all of us that bear the name. On behalf of all of us bearing the awesome name Dominic, we reject him. Okay. Patrick Anthony says, the Larry guy who called was almost making my point before the call dropped. The Abuja guy who got the media to cover his threats to peaceful protesters is yet to be called in for questioning. We've got Alaide Cruz who says Sandra can whine Dominic Shah. It's interesting. I was not whining anybody. I was just listening. We've got Chidi Banks who says, Sandra, your level of tolerance needs to be studied in Unilag. Okay. Chinedu is Naja. Let's talk to Chinedu. How are you, Chinedu? Oh no, did Chinedu get shy and run off the line? I'm sorry. Gent Royal on Twitter says, I think the local government chairman has done well, but I doubt if the cash will go to the right persons. I doubt if your second caller is a lawyer, but if he is, he needs to be enlightened and he needs to take a serious knock on the head. John Bosco Wole Mighty says, kudos to the LGA chairman's wisdom and foresight. I've heard the honorable chairman speak sometime last year, and I believe he's quite sound, highly intelligent. But aside from that, he also feels the pulse of the good people of Itire-Ikate. Ejato says, Governor Okowa's position is a fact, and it's indisputable and real. We saw the Nigerian president receive gold bars as a gift from Zamfara governor in Aso Rock and being encouraged to keep it up and amassing wealth from harvesting it. Meanwhile, the federal government exploits our land in the Delta for everyone. John Bosco says, I think Barrister Olamide Akpata has done a great and amazing thing to defend EndSARS protesters. He's always been constructive in all his comments, but notwithstanding, they always say a lion cannot born goat. Well, who's the lion in this story? Bell Senior says, party members calling and claiming lawyer. He can't even defend himself. Okay, well, we don't know that, so let's refrain from making statements like that. Adepoju Abdul Wahid says, Sandra, I regret casting my vote for this government. I thought that they had a vision to drive this country forward. It's the UAE that is exposing Boko Haram sponsors, and they're giving ordinary citizens in the north ability to mine gold, while those with oil cannot do the same. Preside 1982 says, Sandra, a government that lacks progressive vision or insight will one day, through its actions or inactions, use its hands to terminate itself. Just in case they're not mindful of the events that led to the French Revolution, which subsequently brought the reign of the king to an abrupt end. Nobody should be advocating for the end of a king. Anybody who's democratically elected only has one option of leaving office, a democratic process. Let's not start sanctioning, nonsense. Okay. Well, someone's asking me to cut off stupid people. That's not nice. I mean, you can't unilaterally say cut off people who you disagree with, and you can't call them stupid either. Come on, let's go to Facebook. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. Facebook Nigeria Info 99.3. You have to understand that people often say that, oh, Sandra, you don't allow people who have a different opinion to call in. And it's not up to me. They don't call as much as those who, share an opinion that is very well thought out and critical. So once in a while, you have dissenting voices, and you need to hear those dissenting voices as well, because it's a democracy, right? We're not terrorists. We're not dictators in Nigeria Info. We let everybody speak. Everybody. Emmanuel Odu says, Sandra, for the hustler that said the EndSARS protesters did not need the police, yet they were against police brutality, he is yet a victim of our bad educational system, because he would understand the difference before his assumption. Olugbenga Peter says, Sandra, please help us call the authorities. Some boys are carrying guns, numbering up to 10, walking about in Okele to Ijede area, Ikorodu, right now. Okay, well, the authorities have heard me say it. De Jasper says, hi, Sandra, good afternoon. Please tell the man that called you that... Okay, we're not going... I'm not going to take that comment. You guys, be nice. Be nice. Huh? Okay. Okay. Ruben Lucas says, freezing people's accounts shows that the government wants another protest. Freezing people's accounts is another way of causing business properties destruction again. We've got Johnson Tommy who says, Sandra, Nigeria is a funny country where our leaders think they can do anything they like. But let them know that one day the youth will have enough. Okay. Let's take another comment here. On Facebook, Sandra, I don't think the money will be shared genuinely to the people that their businesses were vandalized. Okay, that's for Facebook. Let's come back to WhatsApp and see the comments we have here. Someone says the CBN is now an instrument of social suppression and oppression in the hands of the insincere and insensitive government, a government that arrogantly pursues misplaced priorities with vigor, leaving out the important things, is an error. Hello, Sandra. I completely agree with the NBA. I don't understand how a government can be completely cut off from the populace. What are they hiding that makes it so difficult to be honest? I guess all I can say is we made a mistake in 2015 and 2019. I urge Nigerians, especially the youth, to please brace up for the next election. 2023 is a little above 20 months. Let's get our PVCs, organize ourselves. Sheyi from Iba, new site. Sheyi from Iba, thank you for your message. Sandra, by now, I expect the Nigerian community to understand the trends of Nigerian government. After the protests, there was first lockdown in states. After that, there was prison break in some other states. After that, there was shooting by military officers. After that, there was looting by looters in the state. And now the government is giving out grants to looted companies or offices. It's just a plan to embezzle money, embezzle funds. All they can do is still be protested, never give them an avenue to steal, and they're doing so. I stayed at Muodofing, and the protest in our area was totally peaceful. Abula Ado was peaceful. Apple Junction was peaceful. Finger protest was also peaceful. So where did this angry bird of a lawyer... Oh, sorry. So sometimes my eyes read fast. My mouth reads faster than my eyes and my brain. So sometimes I've already read the message before my brain clicks to what I'm reading. Be nice, people. Come on. Be nice. Huh? You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's bring you business news and then switch gears and bring you League of Extraordinary Nigerians. I am Sandra Ezekwesili. Don't go away.
You ask the questions, we bring the answers. Your number one station for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.